Howdy, I'm InTheLittleWood, also known as Martin, and welcome back to the channel. Today, a brand new Pokemon Go update has just dropped, and I'm very happy to introduce you to the final version, or I guess the first version, seeing as they like to take features out, of the buddy system. So you can see I've got my Pikachu chilling out with me right now. He's stood right next to me and slightly in front of me as well. There are actually 3 other states that a Pokemon can be in on this screen. So of course we're starting off with the regular standing by your side. If they're a flying type, they'll be right behind you in the air. If they're teeny tiny, they'll be sat on your shoulder. And if they're bloody humongous, then they're going to be right behind you. So now let's talk about how you actually go about picking a buddy in Pokemon Go. It's really simple. Of course, we come to the player profile screen, we click on options and then buddy, and then we're presented by the screen that tells you how many more kilometers you need to walk to be awarded some candy. More on that in a second. From here, click on the transfer icon. It's not transferring it away to Professor Willow, don't worry. It's basically just swapping your buddy out for a different Pokemon. Then you simply scroll down. I'm going to look for Pikachu because he's the first one I want to work on. You press on him. It can be any of them regardless of the CP, and now Pikachu is my buddy. And the reason that I'm starting with Pikachu specifically is because there is a rumor, or I guess kind of a confirmed Easter egg, but I'm very skeptical of the internet nowadays, that apparently if you've walked your Pikachu 10 kilometers, then it'll go from being at the side status to being on the shoulder instead. And this is obviously just a throwback to the anime where Pikachu is on Ash's shoulder all the time. So let's get back to the point that I made a second ago about candy. Basically, the buddy system allows you to farm candy by simply walking a Pokemon a particular distance. So we're going to go through the entire Pokedex right now. I'm going to tell you exactly which Pokemon require which distance to get the rewards. So I'm currently sat on 116 and 107 court. Thank you so much to everybody on Twitter who told me all the other ones that I don't currently have. You've made this video possible. And before you get confused, I'm not going to be reading out every single Pokemon. I'm only going to read out the first Pokemon from each evolutionary chain because it doesn't change if you've got a Pidgey as opposed to a Pidgeot. It's still going to be 1 kilometer to get some candy. So without further ado, here we go! So for 1 kilometer distances, the Pokemon that you can get candy for are Caterpie, Weedle, Pidgey, Rattata, Spearow, Pikachu, which I thought was quite surprising given that I thought it would be in the same category as the other starter Pokemon. But I guess they are a little bit more rare in the wild, so maybe this is their way of making up for it with their flagship Pokemon. Clefairy and Jigglypuff were a little surprising to me. We got Zubat and Geodude. Again, totally surprised by that one. And finally, Magikarp. So this might help people that are trying to get to that 400 candy mark a little bit quicker. So now let's move on to the distance that has the largest portion of Pokemon inside of it. This is 3 kilometers, and the following Pokemon get candy from that: Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, Ekans, Nidoran female and Nidoran male, Vulpix, Oddish, Paras, Venonat, Diglett, Meowth, Psyduck, Mankey, Growlithe, Poliwag, Abra, Machop, Bellsprout, Tentacool, Ponyta, Slowpoke, Magnemite, Farfetch, Doduo, Seal, Grimer, Shelder, Ghastly, Drowsy, Krabby, Voltorb, Execute, Cubone, Lickitung, Coffin, Rhyhorn, Tangela, Kangaskhan, Horsey, Goldeen, Staryu, Taurus, and Porygon. And then the final portion of the list, this kind of like corresponds nicely with the 10 kilometer eggs that you can hatch. But the 5 kilometer walks for buddy Pokemon are Onix, Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, Chansey, Mr. Mime, Scyther, Jinx, Electabuzz, Magmar, Pinsir, Lapras, Eevee, which I thought was a little bit of a stretch. That seems a bit too expensive in my opinion. Omanyte, Kabuto, Aerodactyl, Snorlax, and Dratini. So that's all the Pokemon that are currently playable right now in Pokemon Go. As for the legendary Pokemon and Ditto, here are the distances that the subreddit Pokemon Go as well as Sylph Road have managed to tinker around in the code to find out. This could fully change by the time the Pokemon are actually released. This is just what's in the code right now. Ditto is 3 kilometers. Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos, the 3 legendary birds, are all 5 kilometers, and Mewtwo and Mew are also 5 kilometers. So I kind of want to try and test out this theory for myself about the 10 kilometer Pikachu. I'm obviously not going to be able to walk 10 kilometers today, but I can start working towards it. Let's head out, let's hit 1 kilometer and see what the animation's like when you're awarded some candy. So something cool I just noticed actually is now when you go to a Pokestop that has a lure module on it, it now tells you the trainer name of the person who actually put the lure down. There's no way of thanking them or even looking at their profile. It seems with the buddy system, having a look at their profile, seeing their level and who their buddy Pokemon is, would be perfect opportunity for bragging rights, but that's not currently in. I'd like to think it will be though. Oh, we're getting pretty close now. 0.9 out of 1 kilometers walked. any second now. And I don't know if I pointed this out yet, but if you look really, really closely at the buddy icon as well as the player icon now, when you're on the map screen, they actually both gently sway and move. There's a little bit of animation to them. Thank you very much to Jacob Wenging. Can you give me an egg? Let's see what kind of distance that egg is. It's a, oh, you know what, it's a 5k. That's pretty good. Oh, random egg hatch. Let's see what we get. Oh, a Weedle. There we go, Pikachu found candy. It was literally one candy. That's it. There are rumours out there that after you've walked them a certain distance, or if you do different ones in the evolutionary tree, then you might get a little bit more, but for now, just the one. And then we move on to my final piece of information and the final bit of testing I've done today on the buddy system. It turns out that you are actually allowed to take a buddy into a Pokemon gym to fight. Now, on the other hand of that, you're not allowed to leave a Pokemon there for obvious reasons. It's going to be there instead of walking around with you, but that's basically been tested now. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let me know who you chose as your buddy. What CP is it and what Pokemon is it? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.